Located on the southeast coast of the United States is an area in the Atlantic Ocean known as the Bermuda Triangle. Shrouded in mystery, theories, and unexplained phenomena, this part of the world has never failed to intrigue anyone who ever came across hearing about it. There are various incidents of disappearances that occurred within this region that seemingly surpass all logical reasoning, and in this episode, I'm going to get into 4 specific incidents, all of which are noteworthy and discussion-provoking. One of the first ever accounts of strange sightings in the Bermuda Triangle dates all the way back to 1492, when Christopher Columbus documented in his notes that he saw a large flame crash into the sea during his first trip to the New World, as well as the manifestation of strange lights and his compass acting astray. While some say he may have just spotted a meteorite and was fatigued when looking at the directions, some find his description quite exceptional given the subsequent real events that occurred after this one. Specifically speaking, in the 20th century, a Navy cargo ship by the name of USS Cyclops went missing while passing within the triangle. Its disappearance is mind-boggling because at the time it was one of the largest ships, spanning 550 feet long, and it had boarded a total of 306 people. Not only was it large, but it was also carrying a lot of weight, holding a whopping 11,000 tons in the form of magnesium. The Cyclops wasn't just a ship that was newly built and pushed out to sea. The ship had a lengthy history of successful voyages since 1910, transporting coal and refugees across the Caribbean and Mexico. It then became an important component in World War I when it was used to transfer the army as well as fuel. In 1918, the ship was loaded with tons of magnesium, and upon traveling through the Bermuda Triangle, it left one final eerie message stating, quote, "Weather fair, all well," end quote, until this gigantic ship was never heard from or seen again. This was quite unusual at the time, as even a news article published a few years after the incident stated how odd it was that not even a trace was left behind, as shipwrecks typically leave a wooden bucket, cork-like preserve, or something tangible. USS Cyclops disappeared without a trace. Even the US Navy released an official report claiming that the disappearance of the Cyclops ship is a gigantic mystery, and all attempts in finding it have failed. There are many theories ranging from rational to supernatural and what could have transpired. Some who believe in the paranormal say that it is likely a wormhole of some sort literally swallowed the bolt entirely. Now, this theory is interesting because, by definition, wormholes are tunnels between two holes that interconnect regions of space and time. While it is typically not possible to pass through one, it has been cited that any alteration in dimensions could cause it to swallow anything. Whatever gets swallowed never gets out, explaining why no debris is ever recovered. Yet, there are others who believe that waterspouts in the form of tornadoes were responsible for dragging the ships into the deep blue sea. A more astonishing theory, moreover, is that methane gas, which is found abundantly in the ocean, is responsible for pulling entire ships and even planes downwards. However, a more rational experience comes from an investigator by the name of Marvin Barish, who was personally connected to the ship because he was related to one of the seamen who boarded the USS Cyclops. Barish studied the disappearance for a decade, coming to the conclusion that a combination of faults occurred, including both mechanical issues and Mother Nature herself. He believes that while the ship was facing technical difficulties, a strong wave tipped it over the Puerto Rico Trench, which is the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean, explaining why no parts were ever retrieved. What do you guys think about this humongous boat just vanishing? Do you believe that Marvin's theory about weather and man-made errors is quite reasonable? Or do you think that, given the size and weight, something much more powerful and even supernatural had to be at play? A similar case occurred recently in 2015 regarding the SS El Faro ship. This was another large boat spanning 790 feet, boarding 33 crew members and carrying hundreds of trailers and containers. When it was sailing through the Bermuda Triangle, a hurricane known as Joaquin was noted to be occurring several miles to the east. This particular hurricane was common in the area, and because the ship was going to be 100 miles away from it anyways, they believed that it was highly unlikely that the hurricane would interfere with the ship. Confidently, the ship then started its voyage, and everything they thought that wasn't going to happen happened. The hurricane literally drove headfirst into the ship, completely surrounding it whilst belting 40 feet tall waves and 90 miles per hour wind gusts into it, causing complete silence between the ship and the outside world. For several weeks, search and rescue teams could not locate it until finally spotting the ship 15,000 feet below the Atlantic. Interestingly, it was sitting upright and completely intact, and around the ship were its contents such as vehicles and microwaves. Shockingly, however, there was no trace of any of the 33 crew members, and this is with an extensive and thorough search conducted by the U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Air Force, and U.S. Navy, all of who combed through 240,000 square miles. Not a single member was found. What could explain this? It has been suggested that because of the intense winds, the bodies were likely thrown miles and miles away and pushed into the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. While I also believe this to be the most reasonable explanation as to why no bodies were found, given the vast majority of strange disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, I'm also open to other theories regarding this. The latest and eeriest disappearance of an entire boat missing and never being found occurred in December 2020. The boat's name was Blue and White Makokuddy Cabin Vessel, and it boarded 20 individuals. It was 29 feet tall and expected to reach Lake Worth after departing from the Bahamas. In January 2021, the search that spanned 17,000 miles and over 80 hours ended after not finding a trace of it anywhere. Some people have speculated that the boat was smuggling immigrants, and that due to the tight space in the boat and large capacity of people, there are a plethora of possibilities of what could have possibly occurred. One reasonable explanation is that the 20 individuals most likely died due to carbon monoxide poisoning, and that the boat drifted into the depths and became one with the elements. But what do you guys think? Reflecting on all these ambiguous cases, one thing is for certain: we tend to underestimate Mother Nature and how powerful and unpredictable it actually can be, regardless of how advanced we become as a society when it comes to predicting weather and creating the latest devices. In my opinion, most of the cases can be chalked up to human error rather than aliens, monsters, and other outrageous notions. But at the same time, given the lack of remains for some entirely large structures, it seems almost tempting to bring in the supernatural as a force behind all the madness. Indeed, anything is possible. I really want to know what you guys think occurred during these incidents and any other cases that you guys know of. And trust and believe, there's various other cases regarding disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. So feel free to type up your own theories in the comments section below. I look forward to reading each and every one of your comments, and I hope you like this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting content.